Hey y'all, it's your favorite sweet girl Sammy, and I'm back in obedience. Warning. Y'all will hear her bark every now and then. She's still a puppy and it's been a process. However, we did it, y'all. Um Shout out to all my friends that really pushed me to be here, to continue to speak, because it hasn't been the easiest. And this, what I got for y'all right now is I've been holding on to this for a long time because I wasn't well enough to be able to say it in wholeness, right? So we're gonna go right into it. This is, I'll say, what our season finale of a time I call Healing Girl Summer. I spent this whole summer healing from a lot of things, and a lot of people want to kind of directly to us relationally. No, even relationally, because I did go through some trauma in that department. Family, friends, how I felt about myself, shit around me, just the world. I had literally been healing from and still am healing from, because healing is a journey. It's not just a one step thing. And one thing in this culture that we try to do, not this culture, this generation that we are doing, is we're very heavy on building generational wealth, and that's great. But with building generational wealth, you have to break generational curses and maintain the wealth that you already have. So those are a bunch of steps that that people negate when it comes to building wealth. And a lot of the times with breaking generational curses, when you surpass them, you think they easy, but some curses literally are through generations that are so great that that they did get to you. You know what I'm saying? And so it's up to you with what you learn now, to be able to break those things. And healing properly is something, y'all, she bites my feet. Healing properly is something that we don't do, that I think is a reason why we're cursed to some degree. And so I wanted, shout out to Michael Dixon, the artist, because the title was inspired by him. When I was thinking about this concept, he had just dropped a project called How Are You Healing? Basically asking, for one, how are you doing, while you're healing, but how are you actually healing? And that really resonated with me. But what I wanted to make this called is, are you actually healing? Are you actually taking the time to sit with yourself and find the festered, I'm not gonna say just the root, find the festered root that has literally taken ground in you, but not even from you, from the generations before you. What are those things, those triggers that are keeping you from healing? Because I don't think we're also taught to heal. Transparency. From my time being in the hospital last year, was very traumatic. But one thing it did set me up for was how to heal, right? I had an infection in my leg that ruptured. I had a boil that ruptured, and when I went to the hospital, they didn't pay attention to it when I told them where it was, and it actually spread. So I ended up being in the hospital for 2 weeks for a damn boil, right? But in that process, I learned how to heal. I ended up having to have 2 surgeries because of that. Once I had the surgery and it came to the healing, y'all, how I healed showed me how we're supposed to heal, right? So I had two holes in my leg. And when I think of healing, I think of what people usually do. They'll sew it up, put a bandage over it, you know, just let it just heal from the outside, right? My type of wound, it literally had to heal from the inside in. And in order for it to heal, it was literally like packed with medicine or gauze or anything, packed and then unpacked, right? Every single day for like 3 months. And it was very painful. Like, it was very painful. But ultimately, with healing from how I healed from the inside out, is how I've actually healed as a person from the inside out, and how I've healed always through life. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people heal from the outside and feel like the outside will help with my inside. Sometimes, you know, it gives you that motivation, you know, to get throughout the day. But honey, if you don't figure out what's going on in here, you're not gonna be all right. You're not gonna be all right, and you're gonna just carry that from one situation to the next. They always say new levels, new devils. No, a lot of the time it's new level, same devil, because you never acknowledged or confronted that devil from the previous level, right? In relationships, you're like, damn, I always date the same person with a different face. That's because you never figured out the lesson from that person you either left or left you, you know, things like that. So that's what I mean by healing, and healing properly. Healing does not, it's not always sad. You know, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. To cry every night, but then when you wake up, have that joy in the morning. That's new joy, you know, that you get every day. Like, so I wouldn't waste it. You know what I'm saying? You are still a person, and trust me, this season is I'm not gonna lie, hard. Healing is hard because I heard somebody say healing is like I said, it's not a journey, but it's also not it's a journey, but it's also not a one-step thing, right? It's something we have to constantly do, and a lot of us don't have like those type of routines, you know what I'm saying? So healing does not always look sad. If y'all watch any of my reels, anything on my story, I've literally just been healing, and I've been dealing with myself, but I haven't been just sitting in the dark, right? To be honest, I possess so much light. And so it's very hard for me to be in a dark place. And sometimes it comes off like, oh, she ain't got nothing going on, because like my friends say, like, bro, you held your chin up and you didn't sweat. It's like, I cannot and I refuse to look like what I've been through. Period. A lot of times I don't even talk about what I'm going through while I'm going through it. I always talk about it at the end, because it's the testimony you need. You don't need the tea. Y'all be wanting that tea so bad, and it's just like, nah, y'all need to see how I got through it. And literally that was something I learned in one of the books I read called The Noticer. Y'all should read it. It's a good read. It's kind of like The Alchemist. Same kind of concept, but not. Y'all should read it. But in this book, like, I just learned, like, I'm big on reading like autobiographies and things like that. I love interviews. I love podcasts now. I don't necessarily be trying to get in their business. I be just trying to figure out how they got there and how they got through it. And that's a big quality in a person like myself. I'm learning myself every day, and I'm getting new vocabulary of how I am and how I move. And stop. Y'all see. But one thing I did, you know, it depicts in that. Y'all, she didn't got me all like twisted. But one thing it showed, like, when you see how people get through things, it literally sparks that candle, that light in you, you know, so you can be able to persevere. And the one thing this book always just talks about, it's literally a book about how, like, God came in many faces, and you don't know it's God until the end. Came in many faces and gave these people a new perspective on life. And that new perspective fueled them for a better life. in the future. And literally, once you gain perspective on things, your life change. Once you change your perspective to a more positive perspective, your life will change. Like, your life will generally change. If you change how the way you look at things, instead of being like from a negative aspect or from a victim aspect, and you try to figure out, and that's something I've done these recent probably like 4 years. It's like, what is the lesson in this? What can I learn from this? And to take it even further, when it has something to do with people, it's like, what about me that I need to look at, or that I need to, like, adjust, that resonated either with that person. It's for us to have that connection, or what I did not see in myself. Like, what is it in me? It's not necessarily the other person, and that's the problem. We always just want to place the blame on somebody. Y'all see her running. We always want to place the blame on somebody, but we have to start with ourselves. If we don't start with ourselves, then what? You can fix every other person around you, and you can tell them about yourself, about themselves, but until you get you together, nothing's going to change about your life, period. Right? One thing in this healing phase is I just learned to, and I know we don't like the US or whatever, but I'm learning to use my constitutional right of the pursuit of happiness. I am literally pursuing everything that makes me happy. Everything from my concerts, which I love, my music, going to art shows, going to just take a walk, just going in the wilderness, going painting with my friends, like just anything to kind of get my mind for a second off, all the work I've been doing in this trauma dark space. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've done this like all of my own merit. I stay in the word. I've learned to be more vulnerable, and that's, I think, something we're going to transition to into Soft Girl season, because I'm hard, like, by default. It's not my fault. I'm hard by default, but I have learned how to be vulnerable with people regardless of, like, what they do with it, because my truth is my truth. Like, I'm a pretty much an open book for the most part. I ain't just out here giving voluntary information, but if you ask, I'm gonna tell you. Like, I don't have a reason to lie about nothing. At this point in my life, I take care of myself. Like, what am I lying for? But yeah, y'all, I hope y'all healed all summer. I hope y'all still healing. And I appreciate everybody, like, that's been supporting me, especially two people. Shout out to Shaky and shout out to Robert, my cousin. Because let me tell y'all, and no slight to them, they are some very, they be on demon time. They really be on demon time. But the one thing I loved about them is they acknowledge, not, my sister, she acknowledged not necessarily my strength and just being strong and how I've overcome certain things. She acknowledged my strength and my faith. That's what has kept me going. Same with my cousin. My cousin, like, he be getting to it with people, but for me and my cousin, like, at this point in life, we don't have those vibes. We don't do those type of, like, we don't have those vibes. But one time he walked up to me recently and was just like, it hit me with a quick, and I was so grateful for it, because he didn't have to do that. Like, he didn't have to do that. But he respected me and my faith enough to be like, I acknowledge you and what's on you. And to see that from me is why I continue to come in obedience. Regardless if 5 people watch it, regardless. This ain't even for, like, y'all. This for, like, me and for God. Is me being obedient to God, and is me literally documenting my journey as I continue to grow. That's it. So this is the last episode, but like, sometime I need to take a step back to continue to heal in solidarity. I will be off of social media, like, probably after Sunday, because I didn't want to start it in the middle of the week. That was whack. But I will be on a social media fast to really just clean my gates, my eye gates, my ear gates. You know, I just literally have to purify myself to be able to continue, right? Yeah, that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And see y'all in October.